Hey everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at how to find the slope given a minimum of 2 points on a line. The way you do that is you're going to apply what we call the slope formula, which is what you see here, the rise over run, which is the change in y over the change in x. The actual formula translates to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to first label your 2 points, okay, based on where they are on the graph. In some cases, you'll be given the points. In this case, we're going to have to look at the graph to get them. So our first coordinate is right here. That's going to be the coordinate 3, 1. Okay, that's 3, 1. And up here, we have our second coordinate point that we're going to use. And this one is going to be over at 5, 3. Okay, so again, x1 would be 3, and y1 is 1, x2 is 5, and y2 is 3. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and plug it right into that formula. So it's y2, which is 3, minus y1, which is 1, over x2, which is 5, minus x1, which is 3. Okay, so we're just plugging into this formula up here for each of these values and separating them by a minus sign. All right, 3 minus 1, we get 2. And 5 minus 3, we also get 2. You always want to reduce your fraction, so 2 divided by 2, or 2 over 2, gives you a slope of 1. You can check that by just looking at the graph. If you're given the graph, you can always just use rise over run. So if we count up 1, 2, to the right 1, 2, the rise over run, okay? We discussed this in the prior lesson. We know it's up 2 over 2, so that's 2 over 2, which is also 1. So you can always use the graph as well. I think that's also the easier way. But if you're not given the graph for whatever reason, the slope formula is the way to go. Let's go over a couple of different examples where we're not given the graph. Okay, so here we're given the points -1, 2, and 4, -2. The first thing I want to do here is label my points. So I have my x1 and y1. That's in my first coordinate, and x2 and y2 in my second coordinate. Now we just want to plug them into this formula here. So y2 is -2 minus y1, which is 2, all over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is -1. Now here you have to be careful because this minus sign is already here, and there's a minus sign or a negative sign on the 1, so this turns out to be a double negative. So when we solve that, it's going to become a plus. -2 minus 2 gives me -4 up top. 4 minus a -1 is like 4 plus 1, so that gives me 5. -4 over 5 is already reduced, so that's my answer right there, -4 over 5. All right, let's take a look at one more. Okay, again, always label your points x1, y1 first, and x2, y2. Okay, I always label my points so I know where I'm putting everything. Okay, so m equals y2, which is -5, minus y1, which is 2, all over x2, which is 4, over x1, which is 3. Okay, so what I'm going to end up here with this one is -5 minus 2 is -7, over 4 minus 3, which is 1. Reduce that. We know -7 over 1 is just -7. Okay, so we get a negative slope for that. One thing to keep in mind, if you were to have, just kind of like a side note down here, if you were to have a slope end up with, say like a -2 over -2, something like that, where you have two negative signs, that is not a negative slope. That would turn out to be a positive slope. If you were to have that as an answer, it did not happen in this one. But if that was to happen, that's a good side note to be aware of. All right, so given any 2 points on the line, again, you can have more than 2 points, but you just have to pick 2 points on the line, use the slope formula, and that will get you the slope every time.